You open the app, you close the app. You open it again, and 12 minutes later, you put your phone down and just stare at the ceiling or the wall. Out resisting social media. This is not a willpower problem, but this is what happens when you keep looking for something in a place that was never built to give it to you. You see, we lost our third place, our third spaces, and we haven't built new ones. So we keep opening these social media apps, hoping this time it's going to be different. And you know what? It never is. So there's a name for this place that you've been looking for, this place of belonging, this place of community. Sociologist Ray Oldenburg called it the third place. It's not home, it's not work, it's everything else where you feel like you belong. It's coffee shops, it's pubs, it's barbershop, it's our virtual space called The Good Gather. It's the place where you walk in and people know your name and the conversation just picks up where it left off. Now, those places didn't require anyone to try to build community. It just sort of happened. People just kept showing up. So you see the same faces, the same tables. Over time, that repetition becomes something. It becomes a belonging that you didn't even really have to try. You just had to show up for. Now, they are absolutely disappearing, and they've been disappearing for decades because rent is going up, chains are replacing the independent little coffee shops, the suburbs are spreading out, so people are kind of doing more things wherever they can travel to. And then the internet came along and said, you know what? We got this. We're going to give you community online. You're going to be able to talk to so many people from around the world. You're going to feel more connected, more belonging. But you know what it did? It gave us Facebook groups, and Slack channels and LinkedIn feeds, and none of it feels like belonging. None of it feels like that third place that Ray Oldenburg was talking about because it wasn't designed to be one. In fact, it was pretty strategic what it was actually designed to do. Social media is absolutely 100% a broadcast tool. Now, the fundamental interaction is one to many, not person to person. And we need this neighbor to neighbor connection because we've seen what's happening as a result of this. Elections, city governments, decisions, policies, wars are all happening, and they're being justified because of social media broadcasting to many. We're losing the neighbor to neighbor connection. We're losing that ability to explain things to each other. And you know what? You can't build these third places, these places that actually fuel us, on broadcast infrastructure. This format was absolutely 100% designed to prevent community. Yeah. Now, virtual third places are absolutely real. I know that I just talked about coffee shops and pubs, but the ability to come together in a room at the same time is what makes it good. Now, I can understand where you're like, but you're just doing more online. What's the difference? Well, when a virtual space is built around the right principles, so again, synchronous presence, that real-time neighbor to neighbor conversation, recurring touch points, we're all going to meet at the same time, at the same, in the same day, that happens. A genuine culture of welcome needs to happen. Now, this is very important. It's when you walk in and everyone goes, hey. Again, I always reference Cheers. The reason why Cheers was so important and so pivotal, even if you're too young to remember it, go watch a few episodes. It is absolutely amazing what they were trying to outline. They were trying to say, this is going away and we all need this. That welcome, that hello, that recognition, that's what makes these third places really indistinguishable from the physical third places, because sometimes in the coffee shop, the person recognizes your order, but you don't always say hi to everybody in the coffee shop. You can in virtual spaces. You really want to start to know the people that are around you, not their handles, not their avatars, actual humans. And when you start to recognize them and you start to look forward to seeing specific faces in the room, that's where this connection happens. Then you can carry these conversations with you after the session ends. You can pick up where you left off. You can even go even further. Hey, remember that conversation we were having last Tuesday? I have been thinking about it. And then you come back into it. Now, this is connection. It starts to make you feel like you belong somewhere. And that feeling changes how you work, how you live, how you start to look at politics, how you start to look at world events. It changes also how brave you are. It changes how you feel on a Tuesday afternoon when things are so hard and you need to remember that you're not doing this alone. Social media was literally designed to make us feel alone, even in the fake company of others. It's performing connection. But these third spaces, these especially virtual ones, which allow you to pop in when you can, allow you to pop in on your phone, allow you to pop in on your computer, this has something that capitalism can't compete with, because the coffee shop closes. The coffee shop puts limits now on how long you can stay and how many things you can order. I saw recently someone had shared this coffee shop, and I don't blame them. They need to have people in their space. They need to be able to move people in and out, because otherwise they can't pay their rent. But virtual communities have the ability to expand. They have the ability to have longer times together, because we aren't fighting all of these capitalistic overheads. But you have to find the right kind of space, and you have to show up to it differently than social media has taught you to. Social media is very, when I have a moment, I'm going to pick up my phone, I'm going to scroll a couple times. Third spaces online means that you actually do have to show up and you have to commit to it, because it's live, it's synchronous presence, it's non-negotiable. A community that's built entirely on posts and comments and DMs cannot become this third place, no matter how active it is. Real community absolutely requires real time, face to face, even if it's virtual, back and forth, building on ideas together. You want people present together at the same time, at the same moment. And if your community has no live components, it's just a content platform with a comment section, not a third place. We saw this so much in Facebook groups. People would broadcast, and it felt like they were building a community, but really it was still just moments in time. We didn't get the repetition. We didn't always get the same people showing up together more than once, because it entirely depends on algorithm, in that one-off chance that you might see it scroll across your feed. But when we start to design real-time virtual spaces, these third spaces or third places, it's not occasional. They're scheduled. They have regular touch points where the same faces start appearing week after week. Now, the belonging is not built in a single encounter. I showed up to this event once. No, the community needs to make that repetition easy and worth it. So if you're thinking about designing a third space or a third place online, think about how you can repeat things. And I know this is hard for me. I am ADHD. I love randomness. I hate things in my schedule, but I know this is important. And I know I have to keep repeating the things, keep repeating the rooms, keep repeating the times out there, so people start to feel like they belong even before they show up. Okay. And that's a skill. Okay. It's that repetition of making people feel like they belong before they've even showed up, because then they're more likely to keep coming back. Now, physical third places have a very specific atmosphere, a specific feel, a reason to be in that place rather than anywhere else. You have that favorite coffee shop that you like to hang out for very specific reasons. Maybe it's not too loud. Maybe it is really loud. It's the things that make you feel good. Now, virtual third places absolutely need that equivalent. They need named spaces with distinct purposes and energies. And this is why we spend so much time designing the rooms in the Good Gather and the Catalyst, because we want people to feel good about coming into that room. We want them to discover things. We want them to play with it. We want them to have conversations around the elements in the room with the other people. That is very intentional. So the writing room feels different than a co-working room, and that entirely feels different from a conversation circle. They are different purposes. They have different feelings. It doesn't mean that a conversation can't pop up in the silent co-working room. It absolutely can, but we have designed things in that space to allow that to happen as well. Now, that specificity is what makes a virtual space feel like somewhere rather than just a video call link. I dread every time someone sends me a Zoom link, because I just know that I'm going to hate that just black box around me. When I step into our virtual spaces, I'm in an experience and I'm sharing that with someone else. Now, we want to really look at this genuine culture of welcome, because it's not an automated welcome message like, hello, you're here. No, it's an actual like, come on the mic, hello, or we mention it in the chat. It's that actual felt sense that when you walk in, you're not just expected, but you're wanted. It's like, hello, welcome. Oh my gosh, it's been so long. Or, oh, I loved our talk last Tuesday. We want to make sure that new people feel that just as much as the returning people, okay? The more we can recognize and welcome people, the more likely they're going to come back. And you know what? New people are already like walking in. It's like weird, right? To walk into a new space where everybody has these like personal jokes and these personal mentions and they're not sure what everything means. Do what you can to explain that. Bring them in. Bring them into that feeling of having that shared connection or that inside joke as well. Now, the real reason why people come back has nothing to do with content. You can put coursework, you can put lessons, you can put meditations in there. But the main draw is the person. It's the people. It's the person in the room and how they make other people feel. Okay. You need to give them that reason to keep coming back, and you need to center around people. And I know a lot of people don't want to do that. They want to put these online courses up. They want to be able to walk away. They want people just to buy and come in and consume. They don't want to show up. But I am telling you, we need this in the world. We absolutely 100% need to start showing up for the conversations. We need to start showing up for the feeling of being in the room with very specific humans who are not only going to help us shape our ideas, shape our perspective, but maybe start movements, maybe start revolutions. Maybe start evolutions with us, real humans. And that's the draw, okay? That's what's going to get people to keep coming back in the room. Find out what your purpose is. Find out what your shared movement is and make that absolutely possible. Now, let's get back to social media for a bit. It trained us to broadcast. It trained us to craft. It trained us to do these 50,000 pieces of content that go without us. It trains us to show up without really investing in the time. And you see that with all the AI out there right now, right? Here's how you clone yourself, create 80 pieces of content in 5 minutes using your AI clone. But you know what? People are going to start to realize that. They're going to recognize that, and they're going to start to know who's real and who's not. You need to show up with something to say and something to build upon. Okay, this broadcasting out, it'll spark curiosity. It'll bring people there, but then you have to invite them in. Okay, and you want to be able to watch what actual participation looks like, because we also have been trained to just look at likes and emojis and comments. But building ideas, building worlds, building change, that's the real cool measurement. Okay, and this is something that we need to get in the practice of so that we can start to build really amazing worlds out there. Now, the third place really invites people to show up when they have nothing to prove. You listen as much as you talk. You're not broadcasting out all the time. You might start an idea, but everybody else gets to feed into it. And you ask questions when you don't know the answer. Or maybe you ask questions when you do know the answer because you are genuinely interested in how other people experience that answer, experience the world. You want to let conversations go somewhere that you didn't plan for. We sometimes have like very specific SEO time, and next thing we know, we're talking about how we want to change the world. And that is not an accident, and it is absolutely one of the best things you can do when you're in community with people. You want to come back when nothing remarkable happens, because you understand too that belonging is absolutely built in the unremarkable sessions as much as the remarkable ones. Or maybe it's seeing the remarkableness in the mundane. Showing up, being in a room, being next to each other, having a little laugh about something, experiencing something together. These everyday interactions also build on belongings. Now, most people try online communities, and by online communities, I mean the school, the Facebook groups, the Discords, and they just sort of feel nothing. Not because the community is bad, not because everybody in there is bad. They might be incredible people, but it's because they showed up the way social media has taught them to, and the community was not designed to reward that. They absolutely had no connection built in. And that's not a you problem. That's a mismatch between the format and the expectation. Now, I want you to think about the communities or the spaces that you have come more than once before, okay? Before you felt how you decided about it. And this is important. You can think about a restaurant. You can think about the library. Like, you're like, I don't know what to expect. I'm going to show up and maybe, oh, I've got a good example. Me going to the gym. Now, I used to love going to the gym. It's been a few years. We started going to a new gym. I did not know how I was going to feel about it, but I kept coming back. I didn't just go once and there was a lot of people and I was like, ugh. I came more than once. I tried different times. I got more data about how I felt about that space. Now, there's always a layer of awkwardness the first time you show up somewhere. That also has nothing to do whether that space is right for you. Expect that, okay? Come 3 times before you form an opinion. come live and then give your input on how you feel. See how they react to that. Let the faces become familiar. Invite yourself to participate. Invite yourself to give feedback. That's how you become familiar with those spaces. Now, you want to put it in a calendar like it's a commitment to a person. And this is a big frustration we have even when we're planning online events. People will sign up, they might even pay for it, and then they just don't come. Or they'll be like, oh, is there a recording for that? And we're starting to create events where we do not have a recording. In fact, it's really important that we look at why recordings were made possible. It wasn't to give you the convenience to catch up. It was just so they could sell more. Ugh, right? Nobody wants to hear that, but that's just capitalism. It wasn't convenience. It was because they wanted to sell more. People are like, oh, I can't make it, but I want that information. They buy it. They probably don't ever watch it, but they'll keep buying it because they bought something from you once. It's just capitalism. It's just a funnel. But live events where people actually commit to showing up, to being there, to experiencing it, even if they didn't really feel like it at the time, that's when powerful things happen. And when you do that, you start to notice who is normally there and all of a sudden isn't. And they start to notice when you're not there. You have to think about this. You're not just attending an event. You're actually creating a relationship with this community. You're investing in it. You're committing to it. And I want you to treat it like that. I want you to treat it like a very valuable relationship. Make it real for you, okay? And this isn't something so you have to perform. You don't have to be impressive. We don't have to be polished. I want you to find the communities where you can show up and be real and practice being real, because we literally perform and mask 800 billion other places. But the communities that feel really good are the ones where no one is performing, okay? Everyone's leaning in. And by leaning in, I don't mean you're being productive. I don't mean you're producing. I don't mean you're creating content in there. I mean you're just saying, hey, today is a crappy day, but I'm here. That's powerful. You don't have to go deep immediately. You just have to lean a little further towards being honest than you think that you should. Powerful, right? Now, that's what starts the process of being known in the community, being recognized, is when you are real, when you're actually present, not just half present while checking your email, not just half present while you're scrolling on social media. I mean, actually being in the conversation and hearing the words people use and noticing and recognizing the words that people use. This is important. We really gloss over information. We gloss over the words that people are using, but words are powerful, okay? I want you to practice being in virtual rooms with your attention on the people in it. Presence is the thing that makes connection possible, not proximity. Okay. And proximity to power, proximity to connection, proximity to networking has really been what's driving a lot of our elections, a lot of our governmentation, a lot of our community policies that are creating really crappy lives for ourselves. But when we start to participate, when we start to give our attention to things, this is when power actually shifts. Okay. And we're not talking just about online community worlds. We're talking about real changes in the world. Now, I want you to also think about the times where maybe you showed up and nothing remarkable happened. I mentioned that before. Those sessions that feel transformative are not really the ones that are intentional to build belonging. Sometimes it's just where you're sitting beside each other and you're just experiencing it. But it is a confirmation all the same. I mean, belonging is built in the everyday, not in the exceptionalism. And that's something to think about. That's something to pay attention to. I want you to think about where you have showed up and you've said a couple of things, maybe laughed a little and left. What's the difference of that experience versus that hollow scrolling on social media versus putting out one more thing, one more broadcast? Notice that difference. Those sessions are the foundation. I don't want you to underestimate them. I want you to start to notice life. Let's make life a little bit brighter by really paying attention to what's happening around us. Now, a lot of people understand everything I just said, and they still hover. They lurk. They attend occasionally. They wonder why it still doesn't feel like theirs or that they don't have a space. Now, a third place only really becomes yours when you decide it's yours. That decision comes before the feeling, not after it. Most people wait to feel like they belong before they commit. They wait for all the right signs. But the feeling of belonging comes from committing. You have to go first and you have to decide that you want to belong there and then get the confirmation from the community. It can be really hard waiting for all the signs to happen. Also, some people don't know what you need in order to feel like you belong. So speak up, talk about it. Pick a recurring session, put it in the calendar, treat it as a non negotiable. I will go to this. Not I'll go when I can, not when I can make time, not when I have nothing else to do. No, it is absolutely something that's in your calendar and you commit to. This is the thing that I am doing on Tuesday mornings, and I will show up for it the way I show up for the things that matter to me because it should matter to you and it will matter to you. Trust me. Now, I want you to be willing to be uncomfortable at first and say anyways. This is something we have to say in the Good Gather because people will show up and they'll be like, oh, this was not quite what I expected. And then they don't come back. But like the next time could be what you expected. Different people are in the room. Maybe try a different session, a different time. New community will always feel awkward before it feels like home. And awkward is not a sign that you're in the wrong place. It's just a sign that you're in a new one. And that's a significant difference. And that's something we have to start becoming present in our body for, okay? Present in our mind, present in our body to actually recognize the difference between awkwardness because you're in a new space and not belonging, okay? Or feeling hollow. And I want you to feel like you should contribute something, a question, a response to what someone else said. It might even just be a little one word in the chat, but something. And then move into be like, you know what? Here's a session that I've decided to host. Something that makes you a participant rather than an audience member. You don't need to be broadcast to you more. Even though I'm telling you this on a YouTube and I'm technically broadcasting, I do really want comments. I want you to participate. I want you to come into the Good Gather or one of our open events and say, I watched this video and I have something to tell you about it. That is conversation. That's building something. The audience watches. It's very passive. It's being fed something. But a community builds, they create, they co-create, they collaborate, they connect. The moment you contribute something real is often the moment a space starts to not only feel like yours, but other people around you. When you show up, when you commit, when you contribute, you're not only contributing to your own belonging, but everybody else who showed up with you. Okay, if you want to see what a virtual third space looks like in practice, the Good Gather is exactly this. It's a virtual community built as a digital third place for entrepreneurs and creatives and movement makers and people who just want to feel good somewhere. It's for anyone who is really done scrolling and ready to actually be somewhere with people who show up on purpose. Named rooms, live recurring sessions, and definitely a community of people who have decided this is the thing they're committing to. The link is always below. Come see what it feels like to actually be somewhere. We'll be excited to see you in the room.